You know that feeling when everyone's telling you something's broken, but it might actually be the best thing that could happen? That's exactly what's going on with Thailand's tourism industry right now. The headlines are screaming crisis, tourist numbers are dropping, the beaches feel emptier, and everyone's talking about how Thailand is losing its magic. But what if I told you this so-called tourism crash might be the best thing for travelers, digital nomads, and future expats who really want to experience Thailand? Let me explain what's actually happening and why now might be your golden window. Let's start with the numbers because they tell a fascinating story. Thailand used to be the undisputed king of Southeast Asian tourism. In 2019, nearly 40 million people visited the kingdom. That's almost 2/3 the entire population of the country walking through in a single year. Then the pandemic hit and everything stopped.
Thailand has moved to close its land borders to slow the spread of COVID-19.
But here's where it gets interesting. Even as travel restrictions lifted and borders reopened, the tourists haven't come back in the same numbers. From January to July 2025, Thailand welcomed 16.8 million international tourists. That's a 5% drop compared to the same period last year. And we're still about 25% below those peak 2019 numbers. Now the government is scrambling. They've revised their tourist arrival forecast from 39 million down to 34.5 million for 2025. Hotels are offering deals they never would have considered 2 years ago. And entire provinces that built their economies around mass tourism are now wondering what comes next. So what's causing this decline? The biggest story is China. Chinese tourists were once the backbone of Thailand's tourism industry. In 2019, they made up 11.1 million visitors, nearly 28% of all international arrivals. But in 2025, Chinese arrivals have plummeted by over 34% compared to pre-pandemic levels. We're talking about only 2.3 million Chinese visitors in the first half of the year. That's a massive gap. Why? Several reasons. China's economy is struggling with high youth unemployment and reduced consumer spending. The Chinese government is encouraging domestic travel over international trips. Plus, there have been high-profile safety incidents that made headlines across Chinese social media, including a kidnapping case involving a Chinese actor that seriously damaged Thailand's reputation for safety. And it's not just China. Korean tourists are down significantly too. Asian markets overall, including Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, and Vietnam, have dropped by 17% on average. These travelers are choosing Japan, which has become more affordable with its weak yen, or Vietnam, which feels newer and more exciting. Even Malaysia has now overtaken China as Thailand's top source market. Then there's the economic reality. The Thai baht has remained strong against many currencies, making Thailand more expensive relative to its neighbors. That street food that used to cost $1 now costs $3. Those beachside bungalows that backpackers could afford for weeks are pricing out budget travelers. Add global inflation, higher flight costs, and reduced disposable income worldwide, and suddenly, Thailand doesn't feel like the bargain destination it once was. But here's the plot twist. This decline might be the best thing to happen to Thailand in years, because for the first time in over a decade, Thailand has space to breathe. Think about what mass tourism was doing to this country. Maya Bay had to be closed because 6,000 daily visitors were destroying the coral reefs. Bangkok's temples were so crowded, you couldn't experience any sense of peace or spirituality. The floating markets became performance art for tour groups rather than authentic local commerce. Entire communities became dependent on cramming as many tourists as possible through their towns, often at the expense of local culture and environmental sustainability. Now, with fewer crowds, something interesting is happening. If you're a digital nomad looking for a base in Southeast Asia, Thailand in 2025 offers something it hasn't in years: space. Chiang Mai's co-working spaces aren't packed to capacity. You can actually find decent long-term accommodation without competing with 50 other nomads. The city feels like a place where locals and long-term residents coexist rather than a theme park for short-term visitors. Bangkok still pulses with energy, but you can find seats in rooftop bars without fighting through tour groups. The street food vendors have time to actually talk to you instead of rushing to serve the next busload of customers. And the prices. With reduced demand, landlords are negotiating. Hotels are offering deals that would have been unthinkable during the boom years. You can actually afford to live well without blowing your entire budget on accommodation. For travelers seeking authentic experiences, this is a golden moment. You can visit temples without crowds, you can explore markets where vendors are genuinely happy to see visitors rather than overwhelmed by them, you can have conversations with locals instead of being part of a human conveyor belt. The Thai government has recognized this shift and they're adapting. Instead of chasing sheer numbers, they're now talking about quality over quantity tourism. They've introduced new long-stay visa programs specifically for digital nomads and remote workers. The Destination Thailand visa allows stays of up to 5 years with multiple entries. They're promoting lesser-known provinces like Nan, Rainong, and parts of Isan that offer incredible culture and nature without the over-tourism issues. This isn't just better for visitors, it's better for Thailand. Local communities that were being overwhelmed by mass tourism now have breathing room to develop more sustainable approaches. Small businesses can focus on quality service rather than volume processing. Environmental restoration projects can actually succeed without constant pressure from over-tourism. We're seeing eco-resorts replacing party hostels, community-based tourism replacing bus tours, wellness retreats replacing full moon parties. Not that those things are disappearing entirely, but there's now space for alternatives. For entrepreneurs and investors, this creates opportunities that haven't existed in years. Hotels for sale at reasonable prices, tour companies looking for partners who want to do things differently, even land in up-and-coming areas that might be the next hidden gems. But let's be realistic about what this means. This isn't permanent. Chinese tourism will likely recover as their economy stabilizes and safety perceptions improve. Other markets will grow. The crowds will eventually return. But right now, in this narrow window between post-pandemic recovery and the next tourism boom, there's an opportunity to experience Thailand differently. You can build genuine connections with local communities. You can explore regions that were never on the typical tourist trail. You can start businesses or projects that focus on sustainability rather than extraction. You can be part of Thailand's evolution rather than just passing through. For digital nomads specifically, this moment offers something rare, a mature destination with excellent infrastructure, but without the overcrowding and inflated prices that usually come with that maturity. Fast internet, world-class healthcare, international airports, but also space to work peacefully and affordably. English is widely spoken. There's an established expat community for networking, but you're not competing with thousands of others for the same apartments and co-working desks. And culturally, there's something beautiful happening. Locals who were burned out from over-tourism are rediscovering their appreciation for visitors who stay longer, spend thoughtfully, and engage meaningfully with the community. You're not just another tourist taking selfies and leaving. You're part of the new wave of conscious travelers who understand that good travel should benefit both visitor and destination. So if you've been thinking about Thailand, if you've been waiting for the right moment to explore Southeast Asia, to try digital nomadism, or to build something meaningful in a place with incredible culture and natural beauty, this might be it. Not because Thailand is in crisis, but because it's in transition. And the best opportunities often come during transitions, when the old patterns are breaking down and new possibilities are emerging. Thailand isn't dying, it's evolving, and you might be arriving at exactly the right moment to be part of that evolution. The question isn't whether Thailand will recover its tourism numbers, it probably will. The question is whether you want to experience Thailand during this rare moment when it's more accessible, more affordable, and more authentic than it's been in years, before everyone else figures out what you already know, that sometimes the best time to visit a place is when the headlines say you shouldn't.
What do you think about Thailand's tourism situation? Have you been there recently, or are you planning a trip? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experiences or plans. And if this deep dive into Thailand's hidden opportunities was helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Single Destination for more insights into travel trends, digital nomad destinations, and the real stories behind the headlines. We explore one destination at a time, going deeper than the typical travel content to uncover what's really happening and what it means for travelers like you. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next destination deep dive. Until then, safe travels, and remember, the best adventures often begin when everyone else thinks the party's over.